Yo, welcome to the Unconquered podcast. I am so excited to let you guys know that finally, no special guests tonight. It is the original crew, the founding crew that is the Unconquered podcast. So we have joining us Nate Grambo and Adam, who goes by Mojo Rising. What a cool nickname. So I stumbled across these guys by sheer luck on my Instagram page, and we're hooked up. We do some business stuff together. But before we get into any of that, the reason why the first couple podcasts had these special guests is because our good buddy Mojo was out of town for 15 straight days, him and his lady out in Puerto Vallarta. And so, Mojo, I got to hand it off. You got to tell us about that trip.
Yes,
Oh,
please
man.
do.
Yeah,
but
of course
first
not.
off, the glow, man. The glow
The
is
glow.
dialed in. I mean, you look beautiful.
There is something about that tropical Pacific Ocean sun that is just unlike the Atlantic Northeast or anywhere else. And
Yes.
respect to wherever the sun rises and sets. But I'm telling you something, man. The sun rises and sets differently depending on where you are and who you're with and what y'all are doing, right? But just to quickly kind of break down what a great experience that I've had over the last 2 weeks, 15 days. Going to Puerto Vallarta, and I've been to Mexico before, but I've never been to Puerto Vallarta. So to go somewhere I've never been before. That was exciting. Like and one thing that you say, Sean, that I think your father said, it's always more fun when you have a trip booked after you get home from your trip. And we're already looking at Grand Canyon and Hawaii and a couple other trips that we're looking to book. But this particular trip, staying in the present, and kind of sharing this story, it was so cool because the first place we stopped, and what I will say is this, each property that we stayed at within the strip of Puerto Vallarta, each property was unique. Each property and the staff and the people we met brought something to our lives during that time that is something that I'll never forget. Like each property was different in a great way. And so the first property we stayed at, this was for my girl's birthday. And we stayed at Secrets Resort. Yeah, right? This is an adults-only resort, all right?
Okay,
yeah,
there you go.
Five
Well planned.
Diamond. Oh, my goodness. Well, and here's the thing. This is what's so dope about a Five Diamond Resort is, one, its location. Two, the quality, not just of the property and the infrastructure in the property, but the staff. They remember your name, man. They know your favorite drink. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's a rapport that is built that isn't just basic customer service. I mean, these people genuinely, they're happy to have you there. And what was so dope is with many of the trips that we have access to come all inclusive. Like literally bring some ones for tip money,
key.
right?
Yeah, that's major key.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be a trash, The way I look at it is this. If you don't want to tip, don't go to these resorts. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the money we're saving to go to these, you're going to have tip money. But anyways, all I brought with me was cash for tip money. That's it. Didn't spend a penny out of pocket for any additional food, any additional beverage, any additional alcohol. And please believe we had our fair share.
We'll get into a little bit more of the specifics of this, but how much, without the tips, we got to tip. Like, we're good people. We're going to be good tippers.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But without the tips, about how much did you pay to go on this trip?
Okay, so between 3 properties, 2 of them being 5 Diamond and 1 of them being 5-star, for 2 adults for 15 days, we spent a total of $50 per day, or $750.
My goodness.
15 days
so we'll get into how you're able to do that a little bit later, but I want to put that out there so that people understand what exactly you're able to do. And it's such a special opportunity. But go ahead, man. The trip itself is why we're here. We got to hear the details.
Yeah. So super dope, right? We land in Puerto Vallarta Airport, a small little airport, but super busy because it's such a desirable destination. Our driver is ready, waiting there, ready for us. They take our bags. They won't even let us carry our own bags. They take our bags. They put it in the vehicle. They take us right to Secrets. So Secrets, that's a 5 Diamond resort. It's the adults only resort. That was where we spent our first 6 days, 5 nights. And that was, again, incredible. I'm talking 15-foot ceiling. The room is so nice. You can almost spend the whole time in the room if you're a homebody. You know,
do we need to start the 9-month clock? Is there going to be a little Mojo running around here pretty soon?
Oh my
my gosh! You know,
party 2 to party 3.
Right. Won't be able to go to the adults only at that point, at least for a couple of years, true. Right? Or leave a little being at home with the grandparents. They very well may be. I'm not going to speculate. You know, we'll let God figure that one out. But I will say, it was definitely a very much adults fun, adults only resort. You know, we actually had this little joke where they said, this is like the staff would say it, the guests would say it that are used to being at those 5 Diamond adults resorts. They said, yeah, the pool water's a lot cooler at these resorts, meaning you don't have like little kids peeing in the pool, right? It took me a second to get that, and then I got it. Like, oh, I get it. Saltwater pools, then clean chlorine pools. You know, you take your pick, whatever's better for your complexion, right? Every pool had a swim up bar, and then you know there was staff constantly walking around with trays. You know, what can I get you? What would you like? Again, they address you by your name. Like, it's just incredible. And I'll also say this, and this is not me being bougie or anything, but when you go to those higher quality resorts, there's also a certain demographic that also goes there. You know what I mean? You're not seeing parents screaming at their kids or, life sucks. Like, everyone is having a great time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's just good energy. Yeah. I mean, it's uplifts everyone. Was great. As you would say, the mojo was rising. Yep.
The mojo was rising. Well,
the mojo was rising.
You make so many vacation friends. It's hard. Even if you're an introvert, it's hard not to make vacation friends. You're drinking similar drinks. Hey, they're getting the pool volleyball going. We need one more. You want to jump in? Our first night, Haley and ours first night, we met this couple. They were going to the Asian restaurant. We wanted to go to the Asian restaurant. We were right behind them. They struck up a conversation with us. Before we know it, we're sharing a table, having sake bombs, ordering, just endless sushi. Like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. And then a couple bucks on the tips, right? Everyone threw in a couple bucks to tip. And then we were off to the bars. We were off to the shows. So just, there were several subs of vacation friends that we met while we were there. Some of them, you'll save their contact information. You'll find them on social media, and you'll have this ongoing friendship. Others, they were friends for a day. And then, what I mean? But it was just all good vibes, all good mojo. Michelin chefs. Every restaurant at Secrets, they had a Michelin chef that was the head chef. So I'm talking, bon appetit everywhere you go.
So what was like the best food, the best meal you had? That you're best meal. Oh man, I'm gonna eat this all day, every day.
Dang, the sushi was really on point. I love the sushi. Okay. You got to think where we're at too. You're on the Pacific coast, nearest to those Asiatic countries where they basically mastered sushi, right? And so you have a lot of imports from there, coming from there. The fresh fish. Our first day. We went to the Oceanic restaurant. It was an evening restaurant, but also had a great lunchtime menu. Right out of the taxi cab. Like, getting there, I got some fish tacos and some breaded shrimp. Like my boy says from what's that movie? He goes, "These fish tacos are the tits." What movie is that? Help me out.
That's not I Love You Man, is it? Is it I Love You Man?
I Love You Man. Yes, Sean. Thank you for saving that. You're absolutely right. That's I Love You Man. Because all you got to meet is cover. That's the first word out of my mouth. I'm like, these fish tacos are the tits. And
I only know that because that is one of my all-time, hands down, favorite movies. Like, they nailed what it's like being both kind of an alpha male and a beta male in that movie. I mean, just like that. Like, that was the movie of our generation, and I think most guys probably see parts of themselves in both of them. Yes. I think that's why it's so good.
Especially as we get older. Being an adult making new friends, there's a different dynamic than being a young kid at grade school making friends with the kid that sits in the next steps.
Hard.
Yeah. Right.
And real quick, I want to hear more about the trip, but I think that's a perfect transition, right? Of, one of the things that spoke to me, and I don't want to make this big, like, unveiling of what's going on here. So just so our audience knows, we're 3 friends that came together through a business called Trevorium. And essentially Trevorium is a network marketing platform, but you essentially become your own travel agent. There's a lot more to it. And, if you're super interested, reach out to one of us. We'll give you all the details. But high level, you become your own travel agent. But what it really allows you to do is get the actual price of things, which is without the markup of Expedia and Priceline. And we can walk everyone through kind of how that's monopolized, and it's actually one company that owns Priceline and Expedia and all these other places. But what's more important and what really spoke to me why I joined you guys was, the travel's great. But being part of a team where it's like-minded individuals and we can spawn these friendships and, call it sad in a way. It probably does say some things about me, but really some things about just like our generation, society as a whole, when it comes to trust and making new friendships. But I actually think business friendships are the most pure form of friendship, of relationship out there. And I'll tell you why. It's not so much the money, but it's the accountability that everyone is bought into the relationship. Right?
It's sexy.
Totally.
I like that.
It doesn't mean that there won't be times where someone doesn't meet expectations or that someone falls a little bit short, and there's always grace,
Amen.
for that. But at the end of the day, we know that all three of us are working towards the same goals, and we all put something in to show that, hey, like that outcome, that thing that we're striving towards is worth a sacrifice and investment up front from each of ourselves.
Yeah. Without a doubt, Sean.
And one of the reasons I wanted you to kick it off, Mojo, is, I'm still learning a lot of things, but I can tell Nate has a lot of respect for you, and I have a lot of respect for Nate.
Absolutely.
And I know Nate is killing it. And so if Nate has a ton of respect for you, I can only imagine how much you're killing it, which, I think that's the greatest thing about network marketing is, I'm sure we've all heard the objection, well, you're just a pyramid scheme. Well, first off, my question is, what makes you think that? And if let's talk about what a pyramid scheme is. A pyramid scheme is actually an investment professional, like a Bernie Madoff, who tells you that he's going to invest your money, say in the stock market or in some type of investment, and he doesn't invest your money. He actually takes your money and pays off another quote unquote investor. And what happens is the market dries up and people stop putting money in the pot, so he can't pay off investors anymore. That is a pyramid scheme. That is what is illegal. Yeah. That is completely different from a bona fide business, right? And if we want to talk about a pyramid structure, go get my book Resonate. It's 99 cents on Amazon, and it's going to explain to you how all these actual corporations that you think are so prestigious and so great and grand all operate on a pyramid structure. There's a reason the CEO or the partners make anywhere from 30 to 100 times the lowest paid employee in any business. And guess what network marketing allows you to do? No ceiling. No ceiling. It is up to you and your team. If you and your team want to go get after it and do big things, no one's stopping you.
Yeah, go get after it.
And it's a mutual value chain, baby.
Yep.
And you know what? The best thing is we can all root for each other's success. I remember when I worked in my accounting firm, guess what? My incentives were different from my staff's incentives. That means you talk about being on the same team. My teammates had the opposite incentive. Just very quickly, my incentive was to keep the budget down, to not bill many hours, to do everything efficient so that we met budget. Yeah. My staff members' incentive, though, was to bill as many hours as possible. That's called utilization. Right. And that is the end-all, be-all metric for someone who is lower on the pyramid. How many hours did you bill? So they want to bill as many hours as possible, and I'm trying to keep their hours as less as the least amount as possible. So we're like,
jiving.
You're battling your own team. It is. That's
a great point.
It is going to fail. It is already failing. We're starting to see the cracks in this old way of business model. Yeah. And it is the people like us who are able to not covet each other's success, but truly be happy for other people's success. That is what is ultimately going to be what is successful from here on out. I'll give you an example. Like, we get in the group chats and we're sharing wins with each other, and some of these wins have you guys know I have my hands in a number of different things. It's not all about Trevorium, and you guys are supporting me in stuff that has nothing to do with your business, knowing that ultimately it's all going to work out in the end, and we're all going in the same direction. And it's not a race. It's not a race. Like, Mojo, you started earlier, so you're ahead of us. But no one's trying to beat Mojo. We're trying to beat ourselves. We're trying to say, Nate and I are waking up every morning and saying, hey, I did pretty good yesterday, but I can do better today.
Yeah.
Who can I bless today?
Who can I bless today? And how can I become 1% better today?
Yeah.
1% rule. And the business is a labor of love. Because like you said, Sean, not every day is going to be a great day. We're not going to hit a home run every single day. Some days you're going to have to deal with skeptics and people that want to rain on the parade. But the beautiful thing is when you have a community of like-minded people and like-hearted people that are on a similar mission and climbing a similar mountain, it's like you said, Sean, it's not like who's going to get there first. It's can we get there together? And if somebody goes up a little bit faster than the other, again, Nate's success does not take away from my success. My success does not take away from Sean's success. It truly is, in my mind, it is the adults. It's the team sport for adults that are on a mission together. And if you can find a product segment that you are passionate about and excited to use, sharing becomes natural. And then you become a product of your product. And now it's not even selling, it's promoting your experiences. And you have enough people to have a similar joyful experience. That's no longer energy. That's synergy. The good book even says, where two or more gathered, there I am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what we're talking about right now. And there's 3 of us, so we're one ahead.
Right. And I mean, like, to build off that too, like, think about one of the things that really spoke to me when we first met was my wife loves Disney.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
my daughter, who is not quite 4 years old, has probably been to Disney World more than any other 3-year-old that you could ever imagine. We've been every year since she was basically 2 years old.
Yeah. Who's your favorite princess?
Elsa.
Okay.
Elsa.
All right, good girl.
100% Elsa. And, I actually love Disney World now. It's different. Like, when you take a little girl and she's a daddy's little girl, and you see that face, I mean,
oh my God,
like, it is unreal.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I know how much it we did it the right way. It doesn't mean like we didn't do the most expensive, but we did it the right way. We stayed on the on a mid-level property so that you can catch the little Skyliner or the tram like thing to get there. And look, guys, we would book those a year in advance, and I'd make monthly payments because it's like a $10,000 vacation. $10,000.
Yeah.
And that's not even to do it big. That's to do it like, upper middle class. Okay. It was still great. Don't get me wrong, but you can make that a 30, 40, probably 50. Who God knows how much you could spend.
Yeah.
Ceilings.
And my point is, though, it's all worth it when you see that smile. And think about how many American families, American fathers, for example, and mothers may never get to see that smile on their kid's face because they don't have a job that allows them to spend $10,000 on a vacation.
Right.
And when y'all told me, hey, for like almost nothing, literally like less than my life insurance, okay, like half of my maybe 25% of my life insurance premium, you get a free vacation, and not just a free vacation, like a 6-7 nighter vacation at a 5-star property, paid for free
sushi
every year. And if you just find 3 people to sign up with you or right after you, that actually is all free. It covers your membership costs. I just thought, think about how many people I could bless with an amazing Disney vacation that they may never have been able to get.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, think about that. You're making a true impact on somebody.
Yeah. And I love, Sean, that I can kind of feel your joy, only to a certain extent. I'm not a parent, right? I'm the oldest of 5.
Yeah, you don't know what that smile's like. Yeah.
But I could hear it, and I could hear it in your voice. I could see it in your face when you said the smile that your
Very
daughter,
passionate.
as a daddy's girl and a daddy daughter, to see that smile on her face, an angelic, magical, you know what I mean? Like, she'll never forget that. You'll never forget that. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
I'm going to edit the video and the photos into this. So when this podcast comes out, you can rewatch it and you can see the joy on her face.
Nice.
Yes,
the first time she saw the castle, we have it on videotape.
Wow.
And it is, you want to talk about, they talk about the magic of Disney. If you want to talk about the magic, the most magical moment probably of my adult life was that moment. I mean, it literally brought tears to my wife and I's eyes.
We are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 16 lands of the Magic Kingdom. Smoking is not permitted at Magic Kingdom, except in the designated area outside the park entrance. If you're standing, please look over here.
Look over there.
The monorail stops.
What is that? Sadie, what is that?
What is it? A pet castle! A princess castle! Over here!
And I remember I was sitting there and I was working in corporate America and I hated my life. I hated my job. Which we'll probably, if it's not tonight, we'll get into that and not just Trevorium, but I'm just a big fan of network marketing. And how that can offer financial freedom and getting out of the rat race, or at least a good side hustle.
At least an exit strategy, for God's sake.
Yes, right. And I absolutely hated my day-to-day. And I remember sitting there in that moment, and I was like, this is why I work so hard. This is what I do this for.
To provide this. Yep.
And then to realize that there's a way to actually provide that.
Yeah.
And not. So I don't work anymore. I tell people I just live. It doesn't mean I work, but I love
one time, and man, I felt that energy like right there.
I love what I do. I wake up in the morning. I love what I do.
One and you slammed it
with such a passion that I really don't work. Yeah. And so now to understand that you can love your life and produce those moments, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And that's the message I want to spread. That's where I want to help other people get to.
Amen. And life is meant to be experienced. Like, I know it's cliche, but on our deathbeds, we're not going to be like, oh, I wish I made an extra buck. Oh, I wish I logged in another hour of overtime. At the end of our lives, if we didn't live full, we will have a list of regrets. I don't, as far as I know, man, we only get one physical go around on this Ferris wheel. And when the good Lord calls my number, man, I don't want a list of regrets. I want a list of memories. I want a list of things that filled me up and filled my soul. And glory to God, if in that process of living my best life, I have a legacy to leave behind to the ones I love the most that can stay in our family for generations. I mean, that's a cherry on top.
Big
you know what I mean? Yeah. And some people do it through life insurance, which is very responsible. I have my own policies, right? I was an agent for many years before I became a registered rep and started doing more of the planning side. But I will say this. I
did not know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mojo.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
Learned something new about you today.
Once you become financially free, and again, there are levels to freedom, right? But just like Sean, I don't have to ask someone else's permission to do things anymore. Like I wake up when I'm done sleeping, unless I have an early meeting that I've agreed to, right?
Yeah.
Or I have to catch a flight. I might wake up on an alarm to catch a flight. But, and again, those years, I'm not really that far removed from them. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I was still trading time for money. It wasn't that long ago when I earned a certain level of freedom where I can leverage the information age by being a licensed partner with a good idea that has a compensation plan tied to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, well, thank you. And that's really what again, our industry of network marketing really is at the end of it, especially if you find a good company and a good product and good leadership and good people, good culture, and that's the thing. And Sean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I agree because if you're a good builder in our space, you will come across plenty of skeptics. You will come across plenty of people that try to, pee in your oatmeal, right? And say bon appetit.
Yep.
But the reality, like our man Jim Rohn said, not everyone out there is like that. So sometimes you got to get through the knuckleheads to find the people like a Sean, like a Grambo, like an Adam, and like so many others that we're working with. The question is can you stay in the fight long enough? Sometimes you got to be a punch-drunk boxer to get to the next round, where then you find a winner that wants it just as bad as you, and they say, let's link arms and let's do this. And then in the 12-month time span, your life has completely changed. Like, there have been so many times I have put in work, and it felt like it wasn't going anywhere until I found the right people at the right time, and we created some synergy.
Yes.
And I'm getting chills because those moments you never feel more alive when you're in the trenches.
And sometimes the work pays off not the next day.
Sometimes you put in work. It doesn't. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Sometimes you establish a relationship and people aren't ready. A lot of times, because we can get into this conditioning, like literally everything about our school system and our universities are conditioning people to be worker bees.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Go look at the George Carlin skit. I mean, no one can do it better than him. In fact, I'm going to edit that into this podcast as well, because everyone needs to hear that if you haven't. And
it's special.
Sometimes you establish those relationships, and it's not 6 months, maybe a year down the line, that they're like, hey, man, like, I'm sorry I kind of poo-pooed on your idea a little bit or what you were doing. Like, but, I'm looking at your Facebook. I'm looking at your Instagram. I'm seeing these other people getting on here, and they're living their best life now. Like, I'm ready now. I get it. I understand. And sometimes you just have to be patient with people.
Yeah. Hey, timing's a lot of things. I didn't say yes sometimes they have their own lessons to learn.
I didn't say yes the first time I saw it. And what's the old Buddhist proverb? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
The teacher will appear.
So that's true in everything, no matter what we're trying to learn. And here's another thing, too, and you hit the nail on the head, Sean. We're not programmed to think like entrepreneurs. We're not programmed that way. Ever since we got out of the womb, first day of kindergarten, we were not programmed to learn to think for ourselves. We were programmed to kind of not ask a lot of questions and just 2 + 2 is 4, and that's it. And then there's nothing else around it. You know what I mean? It's like, and not only that, but John D. Rockefeller, not to make this like a history lesson.
No, do it. Go for it.
John D. Rockefeller is the robber baron that is responsible. He is the architect of our public school system back in the early 1903. Our curriculum and the system behind our public school system has not changed since 1903. And you know what John D. Rockefeller is famous for saying? One of the many things: I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. So, like, hello, whose side are you on?
Do you know what the bell?
I'm a product of it. But
do you know what the bell is for?
Eventually, you got to graduate, right? Yeah. Eventually, you got to graduate.
Yep. Do you know what the bell is for? The bell?
Oh my God! It's probably lunch or like. No, say it, because I'll butcher it, and I know I feel where you're going.
So back in the day when the assembly lines were popular, they would move from line to line. And the bell is when the workers knew either they had a break or they needed to move to the next assembly line.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so what they did was they put it in the schools, I think in the 1930s or 40s, to train and condition the students that, hey, when the bell rings is when you move.
Yeah.
It's like herding sheep, man, or herding cattle. Like,
this is so savage.
It is.
Oh, God.
And then,
poor kids.
Look, I went to one of the best business.
We're a product of it. We just graduated from it.
Yes. Yes. I went to one of the best business schools in the world. It's a top 30 business school. You know what they wanted us to do? They wanted us to go work for a company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, yes, you had your entrepreneurial stuff, but like, you know what really got me was I started looking at like, well, one, I had the car accident. I write about it in my book, and it kind of opened my mind that like maybe I was here for something, because I really should have died. I thought like there's like 2 or 3 people that basically told me I should have died. It was a terrible accident, and not only did I didn't die, I didn't have a scratch on me. But I thought maybe I'm here for something bigger. and I started really learning about myself, but reading more about other successful people. And you know what I realized?
Okay.
Was not many of them really went to college.
Yeah.
And the ones who did go to college, a lot of them dropped out to start their business.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't mean that they stopped learning. One of my favorite examples is Steve Jobs.
That's right.
Steve Jobs dropped out of college, but then took college courses to learn, not to be graded.
Right. He would go into classes that he wasn't even signed up for.
No way, really?
Calligraphy. A calligraphy class is why we have cool fonts. That was Steve Jobs. No lie. That is one of the best. That is one of the best biography books. Walter Isaacson. I think it's just called Steve Jobs. He tripped acid and went to a calligraphy class.
Yeah.
And thought to himself, "Wow, what if I really like computers? What if a computer could be artistic like a human in typewriting?"
Yeah.
And that's where fonts were originally born, from that idea.
That's crazy.
So dropping doses on the way to college classes.
That's right. That's right. I'm not condoning or endorsing drug use. I'm just retelling the story. But the idea is, he was thinking outside the box. And one of my favorite mantras is, "You're not going to put me in a box. In fact, I burn the box down, and my mission in life is to burn other people's boxes down."
Yeah. Okay.
Ultimately, the person has to choose to strike the match. But you know what? I'll bring the lighter fluid for you, buddy.
That's right.
I got a lot of cases of lighter fluid.
Make some fireworks out of this thing.
That's right.
I think that's a beautiful aspect of purpose too. Abundance is what you can do for yourself, but significance is how you can help others. Because if you only ever take care of you, there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't be great. Greatness comes from the service of others, like our man Jim Rohn says. If you want to be great, learn to serve others. And I think helping people grow their minds and grow their skills and grow their abilities to become financially free and have time freedom in a world where finance and time is kind of like everything. I think it's a beautiful calling. I think it's a great way to become great. You know what I mean? It's funny. I have this love-hate relationship with money. And currency, more than anything.
Same.
I have a love-hate relationship with it. I feel like deep down, it's so sinister, but it's still a tool. It's still a tool.
Yes.
Just like a carpenter needs a hammer to make a birdhouse or a house. If you want to build something very nice in this world and still be plugged into society where you can have the nice conveniences and you can have the warm meals and you don't need to hunt a bear for breakfast, right? These conveniences that we've gotten used to. Money is a tool at that point. Yeah. And so to learn to master money in a way where your residual income can exceed your residual bills, you've hit the first level of freedom. And then there are more levels and more levels, being able to tithe, being able to gift, being able to put kids in school, being able to create foundations, being able to travel like that when you want to go. So there are levels to it, but helping people understand, number one, that this is the truth, that you can do this. Any one of us can do this. We live in the information age, man. There's never been a better time for the average person with an internet connection to get their slice of the pie. We're no longer in the industrial age.
The barriers to entry are zero. I started an AI software company. AI.
That's right.
Machine learning. Neural networks. Things that cost billions of dollars if you're trying to build it from scratch, right?
Okay.
That is accessible to the common human now. Now, it's not free. It took a little bit of investment. But 10 years ago, you would have had to go to Silicon Valley and raise millions and millions of dollars to be able to do what I've done.
Yeah.
Which was on bootstrap capital and pennies on the dollar. So there really is no excuse other than, you've just people are just conditioned. They live in the matrix, man. They're more concerned about who's playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys or the Detroit Lions or whatever. And then, Alex Hormozy has this great quote. I don't know if you guys know who Alex Hormozy is, but awesome dude. I saw on LinkedIn, he posted, "What have you sacrificed on the altar of success?" He's just let me give you an example of what I sacrificed. He goes, I gave up all sports. When I was getting into what I was getting into, I stopped watching the NFL. It was just a small example. Look, I talked to a guy on my coaching business and was like, hey, like, you have a powerful story. You can do this. I can help you do it. You don't have to go through half of what I went through. We can build you this business that could really turn into 6 figures pretty easy for you based on your story and who you are. And he was in the Navy before. And I said, man, you're going to kill it. He goes, well, I just got too much going on to commit to it. And I said, too much going on? He said, yeah, I'm in like 4 fantasy football leagues. And I sent him a picture, no lie. And I want to keep this a little confidential. But I sent him a picture and I said, wouldn't you rather work with NFL players than watch them on Sunday?
Yeah.
He didn't even respond.
Yeah.
But look, it's not against him. No. It's a conditioning. It's a mindset. And no one can honestly, it's why one of the reasons why I study the Bible so much is the Bible is actually one of the best business books in the world as well. It is more than that. Do not misunderstand me or misinterpret me. Think that I'm saying that like I read the Bible only as an allegory to good business. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible talks about how like only the Holy Spirit can turn a person's heart. The same thing in this type of business is like I can lead you to water, but you gotta like actually drink the water.
Mm-hmm.
Only that person can flip the switch for themselves.
Yes. Yep. Very correct.
As bad as you might want it for somebody else, you can never want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And quite frankly, it sounds like your friend. Again, no judgment, right? We're all in different phases and seasons of our lives. We're all a different version of ourselves. But I will say this is his priorities are fantasy football. And that might be what fulfills what he knows to be joyful. But just like you, just like me, just like Big G, we're on a bit of a higher calling as far as our path. And no judgment. I hope you crush it in fantasy football and you get all the little mini trophies and all the bragging rights. But we're here for something else. You know what I mean? And once you get your freedom, if you want to go back to fantasy football, go for it. But what's the old saying?
Y'all want to hear something? Y'all want to hear something wild? Y'all want to hear something wild though about fantasy football and about life in general? Life is like this big paradox, dude. The less you care, the easier the thing comes to you.
Yes.
So last year, I liked fantasy football too, and last year I got real busy. And I didn't watch any NFL. I just basically got auto-drafted, and I just set my lineup. And I set my lineup once, and then I had a buddy remind me, hey, it's like the bye week. So, like, twice during the season, I, like, reset my lineup for the bye weeks, right?
Okay.
Minimal time investment.
You're doing the bare minimum,
Guess who won the championship and got the trophy?
Just dominated.
But it just goes to show that, like, the less you care, like
the more things just float.
And the same thing with like the tithing and the money, because I struggle with that too, Mojo. Like, and what I really think it is that you're not struggling with money. Money is an object, and like there's two. I think there's 2 aspects. One I talk about my Bible study podcast is the Western Church either tells you that, hey, if you're a true Christian, you should be poor, which is not true.
I hate that type of ministry.
Or it's the complete other side of it. Like, if you're a true Christian, you're going to be a billionaire. And it's like the prosperity gospel, which is also not true.
The prosperity gospel,
But let me give you some truth. This comes from not 1, not 2, but 3 out of the 4 gospels tell the same story, straight from the mouth of Jesus. He literally says, after he talks to the rich young ruler, the man who didn't want to give away his possessions to follow Jesus, his disciples say, well, Lord, how can we get into heaven? And Jesus says, I assure you, no one who has left father, mother, brother, sister, friends, and fields. So fields would be like a job, right? Because back in the day, they worked the fields to make money or eat.
That makes sense.
to follow me will be increased 100-fold. And get this, in this age, and inherit eternal life in the age to come. And then he gives one of the most misquoted, out of context lines from a lot of Christians always bring this out of context. He goes,
the eye of a needle.
But the first will be last, and the last will be first. What that means is, if you look at the disciples, right, the original 12, many of them did die in poverty. Many of them died gruesome deaths.
Okay.
Peter was crucified upside down.
The first, right? They were the first, correct? The first will be last, and the last will be first. So God doesn't operate. Well, we know from quantum mechanics and quantum physics that time is not linear.
Mm-hmm.
So God's promise, essentially what he's saying is, this time period now, or as time goes on, further and further down past Christ's crucifixion and ascension into heaven, is we're the last and we are the first fruits, and God has opened up his storehouses of abundance, and that's the fulfillment of that promise.
Okay.
And so, like, I'm big on, when you study the Bible, you have to look at the context.
Yes.
And how many times have y'all heard someone say, well, the last will be first, the first will be last, and it has nothing to do with what I just told you? Because I've heard it multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, brother, like, do you even know the context of when and where and why Jesus said that?
Mm-hmm.
Because let me explain that to you in a different way, which is backed up by actual scripture and not just what you think it means.
Yes. Right. Yep. Yeah.
Basically ministering to your own understanding. And why would you take the good book and try to compare it to your own limited understanding when it comes from a greater understanding than we will ever even, you know what I mean? It's like, that is a tough thing to do as a believer. And hey, I am not a theologian. I am still an amateur on my Bible, but I keep my Bible by my bedstand. Like, I love reading my Bibles. The book of Matthew is probably my favorite book in the entire Bible. I love that.
Okay.
But that being said, I just kind of want to piggyback Sean. You're so right. The context. Yes. You don't want to get it wrong because you have the wrong context, and not to then move from biblical truths to our profession of network marketing. But that still holds true. My friends,
but was Jesus not the most brilliant marketer?
Hey,
but let's talk about it, though. Like, it is okay to use those lessons because Jesus was literally, look at what he did with 12 people. You want to talk about network marketing? You want to talk about network marketing?
Yeah, that's powerful.
12 men. And now our entire timeline and calendar is based on Jesus.
Yo.
From 12.
Damn, bro.
He's the great. He is like, look, sick. And look.
Touché.
I like others. Like truth is its own gatekeeper. And what I mean by that is, like you quoted a Buddhist proverb. That doesn't bother me one bit. You want to know why? Because there can be truth found in other places.
Yeah.
Truth is its own standard. Now, Jesus is the standard, but if someone says something and it doesn't oppose anything Jesus says, then it can be true. Yep. And there's other smart people. There's other good people. And my point being is, all that withstanding is like, name me a person who's a greater marketer than Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one. Most marketing and comp plans, some of the biggest ones I've seen, you have to build 6 separate teams or 8 separate teams. You grab 12, bro. Anywhere from city to city to city. And back then, if someone didn't like what you have to say nowadays, they're not going to cut your head off in most developed nations. Back then, they would.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, like, what do
look
we
at
have
how
to
his
lose
followers died, and yet still people follow.
Yeah.
Bro.
Hey, well, and relate this back to what we were talking about. Relating this back to what we were talking about first about, becoming older and, like, how do you find friends? I mean, you look at something like that. You grab a little squad like that in the community, and, like, now your life is all together. Best friends, going out doing all things that they have passion and believe in.
And growing together.
Which, Nate, to that, like we built a bond already on golf. Like we're already talking about, like, hey man, when we get a chance, because I know you got some trips lined up. We're gonna go play golf together.
Yeah, in Portugal.
In Portugal, that's right. Yeah. For like $100 or something nuts.
Right at the resort, overlooking the cliff of the ocean over there.
Yeah.
Don't lose your ball off that one. Don't hit your ball on that hazard.
See ya.
Don't be finding that
and you
one.
want to talk about like business and cool vacations? I just signed up at Trump International in Florida, $125, a business like course or what would you call it, like a seminar event? Launch your business seminar event.
A world tour with a seminar built in at Trump International in Miami in January for like $125. You can't even hang out in the lobby of Trump International for $125, and you're there for like 4 days. Like, come on, bro, who signed you on? Like,
dude, and get this. If I was single, or if I was married. If I was married and didn't have a child, we could go to the yacht party in Miami right after we hit Trump International.
I'll holler at you guys at the shore.
$125, yo. And the yacht is all inclusive. So, like, all the food's going to be there. There's going to be a DJ.
All the drinks.
Drinks, food.
DJ on the top deck.
Bro, oh my gosh. We're going to be shooting a music video. Like,
that's right.
I'll lip sync some Hov, some Jay-Z or something, man. Oh my god!
That's right.
It's
like it's unreal. And one thing is, not only do you get the benefit of just the crazy deals on there, I want to tell you about the benefit of like something that's not so crazy, but that is still a huge benefit, at least in my eyes. Mm-hmm. Right. So I saw a little bit late that Tony Robbins was coming to Dallas, his Unleash the Power Within tour, and guess what? The convention center where the event is connected to the Omni Hotel in Dallas. Really nice hotel.
Okay.
It was sold out. The hotel was sold out.
Okay.
I got on Trevorium.
Oh, no way.
15% discount and got a room.
Wow.
So look, the discount wasn't massive, but I still say 15% off like what I'd been on Expedia. It's still going to be pricey though, because it's like a 4 or 5 star hotel and Tony Robbins is there that weekend.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to
be the Omni in Dallas is very nice. Yeah.
And it is sold out.
Right.
And I got a room.
Still got a room at a discount.
I got a room. And I actually got a room with a view. Of all things, a room with a view.
And I guarantee you got some loyalty points from that booking that you can apply to your next hotel or activity bookings.
That's
it's like you vacation your way onto more vacations. Like
it's incredible. It's incredible.
It's a cheat code. It's a travel cheat code.
It is. And even down here in Florida, we rented a car for like pennies on the dollar. Now, like we're at my
rental portal's sick.
Yeah, we're at my in-laws condo, so we didn't need like a hotel or anything like that. But like, dude, for like 6 days, I think it was like $70. It's like $10 a day or thereabouts.
My dude,
isn't that nuts?
Incredible, bro. So
did they
to kind of piggyback off that story. We
have a family, so we got a little. It's a Hyundai. But hey, they gave us a free upgrade. We got there because we had a little bit of a smaller SUV, and they're like, "Hey, we're out, so we're just going to give you the bigger Hyundai." And we're like,
"That's
okay,
nice.
cool.
Yeah, take that."
Yeah,
and to piggyback off that point on how we are more than just travel. I mean, the travel is the Grand Slam home run that is this touch all 4 bases, program, but those little things in between that fill other gaps, like dining, like online shopping, like event tickets, movie tickets, concerts, all these other things, right? But to that point, the rental cars. I was in, so the first time I really got to use this program, I went with my homeboy Vinny. He's a member of the club as well. We went out to Hawaii for 2 weeks. We saved over $4,000 between 3 properties. And there was also, Sean, you and I were rapping how much we love the Ritz-Carlton in Kapalua. We went to Ritz-Carlton in Kapalua for 5 days, 2 adults in a suite for like, after taxes and fees, like $1,400. That comes down to less than like $75 a day. per person.
Do you know how much?
Amazing.
So let me just get that out there.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
5 days, 4 nights, $1,400 for 2 adults.
Okay, so let's just pretend you were there for 2 nights at 3,000. Double it, 2,800. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is because my wife and I, we honeymooned there, and this was
Beautiful property.
This was literally like 5 years ago to the date, because it was the end of September, October. We just passed our 5-year anniversary, so like literally
Happy
5 years ago,
anniversary.
almost to the
there you
date,
go.
right?
All right.
Guess how much that trip was 5 years ago?
3,500.
No, more than that.
10 days
that,
at the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh, 10 days. Okay.
Oh, damn, you're spending over 10 G's. You're spending over 10 G's.
Yeah.
$12,000.
Yeah. And you still
Okay.
get a good deal. Honestly, when you see that property, that's when you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We felt like we had a good deal. We felt like we had a good
Yo,
deal,
you
but it was a
did.
$12,000 vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is a good deal. But I'm saying, as you know now, we got better deals now, bro. But,
That's right.
But to that point, we were at the Grand Wailea, which is in southern Maui, just south of Lahaina, and pray for Maui still.
Prayers
right? They
for
still have a long way
Lahaina,
to go.
man. That's
Yes,
where
for real.
that made us tear up after our.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
That's where we honeymooned.
So tough to
Dude,
look at.
and meeting the locals there, and how awesome. I mean, dude, that's the one thing I love about travel too. Is it's where you go and who you go with, but it's the things you learn while you're gone. Like, I have so much respect for the Hawaiian people. Those are our brothers and sisters. Like, so like praise up, prayer up for Lahaina.
Prayers.
But dude, being in Lahaina at the Grand Wailea, which is another 5-diamond resort. It's a Waldorf Astoria resort. We were down there for a week, okay, for about the same price. And then my boy Vinny and I were like, okay, like, we can either get an Uber, like, who wants to do that when you're in Hawaii, all the beautiful mountains and the coastlines, like, or we can rent a car.
Yeah.
Okay, so we looked. So at first I showed him, I was like, let's jump into our portal and see what we can get in our portal. $50 a day for a 2020 Jeep Wrangler, like the big body ones.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, you take the roof off and everything for only $50 a day. Now, we tried to look at like Avis and Hertz, and we even went down to the concierge at the Waldorf Astoria. All they could get us was a freaking, like, a Chevy Escort 4-door little thing for $120 a day. So we saved 60% and got the car we actually wanted that you couldn't get anywhere else. And even when we got it and we told the person, we just booked this yesterday for the week, like, yo, how did you get because those are so popular to rent in Hawaii. Like, everyone that's renting a car is driving a Jeep Wrangler with the top back.
That's the experience.
So we had that. Dude, man, it's an experience. So we got to drive up the coastline. It was gorgeous. Taking our time. Any side road we saw we liked, we went down it. I can't remember what the name is of that volcano, that massive mountain in Maui where NASA has their telescopes. Like, you're over 10,000 or you're over 10,700 feet above sea level. Oh, man.
Holy cow.
There's so, Hawaii's interesting with their mountains and stuff. So like, look to the name. It begins with a K. But one of our days, we drove down and we got to that mountain and we went all the way up. You experience all 4 seasons going up. Summer, winter, fall. Like, as you're going up, the seasons are changing, man.
The road. It's called the Road to Hana. The Road to Hana, right?
Yes. That's what that drive is. And you gotta be in 4-wheel drive going up there because, like, you could slip. I mean, it
takes like all day. You have to go slow.
I was like, we're gonna stop for gas. Like, there's gonna be a gas station. But you get to the tippy top, bro, and you are above the clouds. It feels like you are in heaven looking down on earth.
No way.
I remember my boy Vinny said something to me, and I agree with him. He was like, bro, he goes, the only time I've ever seen a view like this is being, looking out of the window of a plane. I was like, bro, me too. Up until this point. It was amazing, bro. And so we were up there. It was a little chilly.
I'm jealous.
Like, you're high up there. We checked out the volcano. We looked down into the pit of the volcano. It's no longer active, obviously. We're like, whoa, like, lobbies just shoot out of that thing. And then we go to the tippy top. You can't go any higher. You cannot go any higher. You're as close to heaven as you're going to get, bro. And we watch the sun set, not into the horizon, but set into the clouds. And then there's this, like, angelic glow coming up from the clouds. And then we head back to the resort, have a great steak dinner. It was wild. But anyway, that trip saved so much money on our rental car. And you couldn't even get that car anywhere else because they were all rented out. And long story short, from that one trip between staying in Maui for a week and a half and then going to the Big Island for a couple days, we saved over $4,000 on that trip, which was amazing. Being a member of the club, just over the last 11 months, I've saved over $11,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
I've saved 2 to 3 times more than I've even spent. So it's not like, I saved 11,000, but I dropped $40,000 to save 11. No, I dropped like $3,000 on 4 amazing trips between Hawaii for 2 weeks, between New Orleans for a week at a boutique hotel, the Lafayette, which Nick saw that. We were smoking stogies
I was there.
on the patio looking down over the city. And Nick's like, how did y'all get this room for less than we got at the airport Holiday Inn? And I was like, that's what
for twice as many nights. Dude, you were there for twice as long as us, and we were paying more for our crappy Garden Inn hotel.
And nothing against it. It was still a nice hotel for an airport hotel, right? It was great. But we had a boutique hotel downtown in the business district of New Orleans. We were there for 8 days, 7 nights.
Gold-plated everything.
Gold-plated everything. 2 massive rooms. Like 4 or 5 people could have slept in there. For real. We actually had a little party. We rented a limousine for our gala event.
Yeah, we did.
We rented a stretch limousine and then a stretch Yukon for $350 or something like that. For both of them.
Yeah.
You can't
for like 20 people were. Yeah.
I mean, everyone just threw in $20-$30, and we had it for like 3 hours. We were driving around New Orleans. We were popping out for photos. We were pulling up to the gala all suited and decked out like. And I'm saying we did all this because, one, it's not because we're all balling out of control. Trust me, we're average people. But we found unique and cool ways to have above average experiences for like the price of like going out to an Arby's. For real.
Yes.
But between 8 days, 7 nights in New Orleans and all the fun we had down there, between 2 weeks in Maui and the Big Island, and then 15 days in Puerto Vallarta at 2 different 5-diamond resorts and then a 5-star resort, we saved over $11,000. And between all those trips, I probably spent out of pocket no more than 2 to 3 at most. That's me kind of going up. That's me like overestimating so I don't overpromise.
That's insane.
Really, it was a lot less than that. I mean, $800, $850 for New Orleans. $2,400 split between 2 people for 2 weeks in Hawaii. You know what I mean? And then what was it? $750 in Puerto Vallarta for 15 days.
And one thing that I want to make clear is like this isn't something that's reserved for someone that's been on this platform for years and years and years. This is you can pay I think it's like $300 to join. And then the $125 a month, and that's the platinum. You don't have to be that high, and you don't have to do all the partnership stuff. Right. I think that I can go into why that's like worth it for me as an entrepreneur and the amount of travel. But there's cheaper options. But that's like day one. You get on the platform and you can start experiencing those same deals.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah.
I just don't want people to think like,
these trips are not earned.
I must have to like be on there and like get a bunch of people or be working in it for years to get no. This is like you sign up and you get this type of access. You get this type of deals.
And that's a mind blower for.
Go ahead, Nate. My first week, I think I sent it with you, Mojo, maybe like a Monday or Tuesday. And I was like, okay, I've already got a couple of trips like planned, like things are in the docket. I'll maybe look at this thing for like next year. I ended up finding a little date for the weekend. I was like, oh, okay, like little date plans. So I kept hearing I'm out in Arizona and they got this awesome like drunk Shakespeare event that they put on. And there's probably only like 25 seats in this thing. It's kind of like an underground speakeasy. So like really cool where like the guys, they just take like 5 shots and then they like do Shakespeare plays. I was like, all right, cool, we'll go there. So I go on their site and tickets, were sold out for the entire like upcoming weekend. And I think like the cheapest ticket was like $250. And so on a whim, I was like, all right, I just got this new, travel platform. Like, let's peruse around this thing, like see what we can find for date spots. Found the exact same drunk Shakespeare, tickets not sold out. So same experience as you, Sean. You guys guess, how much do you think the tickets were?
Only because I'm familiar with our.
I'm gonna say $20. I'm gonna say $20.
Okay.
I'm gonna go more towards between. I almost gotta give you a range, bro. I would say
Yeah.
35 to 50.
Okay, yeah. So it's $45, and it was like the row behind first row. So they were like the higher tier. I mean, I was like,
retail
deal,
250,
sign
right?
me up.
Retail 250.
Retail 250 for the cheapest. So like if you wanted the row that I was on, I mean, they were probably at least 300. So I was like, deal. I'm in the right spot. Thank you, Mojo.
Dude,
Rising. I am now rising as well.
Yes. We had a date too, bro.
And she had a wonderful night. She was like, "This is incredible. Like, this is so cool. I've never heard of this." And we had a great time. And that.
See, this is the stuff of dreams. Like, I do gotta like wind it down. We're approaching the hour mark, and you know what's incredible is we're gonna get to do this on a, as much as we want on a weekly basis. That's the whole point of this podcast. Is, living an unconquered life is really about being independent and being being free, financially free, time free, geography free.
Yes.
Waking up in the morning based on your own natural biorhythm and not because you feel forced, and living a life of your own design. And ultimately, that's why it's so great to have you to, help me host this podcast. And I'm just looking forward to not just all the cool stuff that we're going to get to do, but the amazing people that we're going to be able to help. And all the impact that we're going to be able to have by just spreading the word of what's possible. Had you not reached out to me, Nate, I didn't even know this existed. And think about all the millions of people out there who don't know that this even exists yet. And here's the thing. I think I speak for all of us that if it's not your thing, no sweat off our back. And you know what? If there's something else that is your thing and I can help get you connected to it, whether or not it's going to benefit me, I'm going to help you. And I know you do the same, Nate, and I know you do the same too, Adam.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I want people to be happy, and I'm here to make an impact. And
yes, sir.
And it's all going to come back to us. And the perfect example is with the money stuff. You know how you overcome that? Oh, money feels dirty. At least for me, how I overcame it is, I keep my word. I have a friend who's battling cancer, and I told him 10% of everything that comes in the door, I'm donating to your campaign. And
I love that.
I finally got into the revenue generation stage. And I'm not going to lie to you. I made I had a good chunk of change, 8,000. It's 10%, so do the math. I had $8,000 come in the door, but the businesses are still early. I had some credit card payments to pay off, and $8,000 is great, but I'm not not a millionaire. And I just went ahead and put $800 into his campaign, and it hurt. I'm not going to lie to you and be like, "Oh, it was my favorite thing to do."
You could have used
it. But once it was in there, it felt amazing.
Nice.
And that's how you overcome that. Is the faith and the knowledge that I know that $800, me keeping my word to myself, is what keeps me driven. But I promise you, it's coming back, and it's coming back times 10, times 100, times 50.
Heck yeah!
It all comes back, and that's ultimately what we're here for. Is to spread these messages, to spread positivity, to raise the vibrations, to elevate the atmospheres, and to put a smile on a little girl's face at Disney World and change their parents' life.
Yep.
When otherwise they wouldn't get to go to Disney World. So
Sean, I cannot wait to see that photo of your daughter. Oh man!
It's a video. It's a video. It's the video. It's gonna hit you.
It's worth 1,000 words. A video's worth 1,000 pictures. So I can't wait to see it. Also, just quickly, you kind of inspired the thought, Sean, as you were speaking and talking about, you keep your word long after the feeling of when you said it has worn off. And, Jim Rohn has a great quote. He goes, "If you want to be trusted when the amounts are many, then you must be loyal when the amounts are few." And, so an $8,000 commission or $8,000 revenue stream in one hit, somebody might look down at that, and others might be like, "I've never made $8,000 at one time in my entire life." You know what I mean? But still, that 10%, $800, like you said, that's a credit card payment. That's a 5-diamond trip in our program, right? But instead, you stayed loyal to, again, staying loyal. If you want to be trusted when the amounts are many, stay loyal when the amounts are few. And, the hand that's open to give is always open to receive as well. You can't, I can't give from this and I can't receive from this. It must be this, and
Okay.
Right.
So I was just really, you inspired that thought, bro. And I wanted to share
I
that
love
before we
that.
wrapped it up.
I love that. I think that's a great way to end this. So, hey, everyone who stayed on for the whole hour and 5 minutes, thank you. And look, if you're interested in changing your life, if you're interested in, you like to travel, you want to learn more about what we do and how we do it, all of our contact information is going to be in the description. Do not hesitate to reach out to one of us.
Please do.
And hell, we'd love to have you on the podcast someday too.
Yeah. Or if you're just looking for new friends.
See you on the beaches of the world.
That's right. Golf
buddies. See you on the beaches of the world. Love it.
Love it.
All right, guys.
All right, gents. Love you, boys.
Till next time.
Thanks for
Aloha,
having us
boys.
on, Sean. Yep.
Yes, thank you, Sean.